Today on DNVR Buffs Live, the Buffs got another commitment. Another tackle joining the fold. Roye Jr. is a Buff. We're going to draft Colorado's best wide receivers. Can these guys lead one of the nation's best passing attacks again in 2025? ESPN and CBS rankings on the offseason and the quarterback situations around the nation. Let's go. Squad! Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota store. DNVR Buffs Live. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Tuesday. What another beautiful day, man.
It's gorgeous outside.
Yeah, man. We're there. It's summertime as far as I'm concerned.
I think you're right, bro.
Ain't no telling me otherwise. I'm going to act that way at least.
Yeah, no, we made it. We are in the Colorado's prime.
Ooh.
In terms of seasons, time of year. Hope everyone's having a great day. Good to see y'all. Big TZ in the house. Cam.
What's up, chat? Talk to me. What's going on? How y'all doing today on this beautiful Tuesday?
Travis, ML Tyler, King,
Squad
SN Services, squatted up today. Today on the show, ESPN ranked every Power 4 team's offseason, and they gave the Buffs an interesting rating and some interesting analysis. We'll get into it. The 10 bleakest quarterback situations in the Power 4 and how this relates to CU. We'll get to that. They obviously didn't make the list. Actually, On3 put out a list today. Top quarterback battles
right,
to watch entering the summer.
Very interesting.
And they were on there. We're going to draft Colorado's wide receivers.
Ooh.
That should be a fun one. We start today with news, though. Roye, former Maryland offensive tackle, left tackle, I should say, is a Buff. He visited last weekend. They had a big recruiting weekend, obviously, with the 2026 class. He was, though, in town. Can you pull up Jordan Seaton stuff? I wonder if he went to the same high school. He went to St. Francis Academy in Maryland, ends up becoming a hometown kid, committing to the Terps as a 2022 three-star recruit. Redshirted that first year, played 6 games as a redshirt freshman in 23. Then last year, really starts to show his potential. Coach Loxley talked him up ahead of the 2023 season. I'll find those quotes. But he started 7 games at left tackle for the Terps last year. We'll see if he can be a factor at right tackle. That situation is getting pretty crowded at this point.
Yeah, it is.
Worst case scenario, he backs up one of the best left tackles in the country, though.
And I think that's where I have him as of right now. I don't think Jordan Seaton and Roye Jr. went to the same high school. Before Seaton went to IMG, obviously he was at St. John's College, right? That's not the...
No.
Okay, right. So both from Maryland, but from different, obviously, high schools in the Baltimore area. So, yeah, like you mentioned, I think Roye Jr., who, like you said, started 7 games last year for Maryland at left tackle. That's kind of where I slot him in as a really good, experienced backup left tackle to one of the best left tackles in college football in Jordan Seaton. And that's, I think, that was a priority, right? Because you can't guarantee health, especially for the big boys up front at any position. We all want Jordan Seaton to have the health that he did as a true freshman. But as we know, football is a contact collision sport. Injuries happen. So to have an experienced backup who, again, has started 7 games in the Big Ten last year for one of the best passing offenses in the Big Ten last year, adding Roye to that offensive line unit is a big get. And you mentioned potential right tackle competition, and that is a thought I had last night, right? That right tackle competition for Colorado is going to be, I think, one of the most interesting position battles to watch throughout this summer into the fall leading up to week 1. Larry Johnson III, the transfer from Tennessee, is obviously going to be in the mix, potentially the front runner for that spot. Andre Roye Jr. potentially could be in the mix for that if he has the ability / the want to play on the right side after playing, a lot of left tackle at Maryland. Phillip Houston cannot be discounted in this
Not at all.
competition as well after he started 9 games at right tackle for Colorado last year before he obviously got injured. Mane Taimani was starting at right tackle this spring, the Ole Miss transfer. And then Carter Smith, the true freshman, right? He's going to be in the mix as well. They have options, right? And that's a really good thing to see because that right tackle situation, as good as the left tackle situation is, you want to see that right tackle situation be improved and kind of be shored up. And hopefully it's one of those guys who can unstep in that. But either way, I think what this recruiting staff did up front, you had 2 starters, I think, on the offensive line in the winter portal with Zy Crisler and Zarin McGill. You had 2 starters in the spring portal. And obviously Xavier Hill and either Larry Johnson III or Andre Roye Jr. To go with your, best lineman and Jordan Cena at left tackle. So that's some really good work that has been done this offseason by the recruiting staff up front on the offensive line, a unit that had to improve.
Facts. I mean, we saw how quickly the right tackle situation went off the rails last year. I mean, it was week 2 against Nebraska when Benson got the elbow injury, and then all of a sudden we're just searching for answers.
Musical chairs at that point.
Yep. So it's just this is like the you see it in the NFL too, like the growing pains or the just learning experiences for a head coach, a staff. Like the Broncos, I think they learned a lot from their wild card game last year. They learned a lot from that Browns game, I think, too. We were talking about that yesterday on the Broncos show. I think that's why Jahdae Barron ended up becoming a Bronco in the first round.
Because they had Jerry Jeudy out there looking like a little Randy Moss, boy.
They did. I mean, obviously the Kansas State game was something for the Buffs last year, but I think that early season stretch, particularly the Nebraska game, was a big learning experience in terms of depth on the offensive line and how, they went in last year and they had options, but as soon as Khalil Benson gets hurt and, they're just rotating guys in and out, it becomes a mess, obviously, before Phillip Houston steps up and kind of stabilizes the position for a minute. But
and you got to remember, too, I was reminded of this yesterday. Coach Prime is on the record saying that the goal and the dream is really to play 8 of those guys and rotate 8 of those guys on the offensive line.
Yeah.
That's what Coach Prime wants. He wants a true rotation up front. He doesn't want to consistently play 5 guys the entire year. One, because you want to get as many guys in this transfer portal era as much time as you can, right? Because if you're playing 5 guys the whole year, 6 through 8, they leaving after the season is over. They hitting that portal. That's just the era we're in college football. So I think, like I said, Coach Prime wants to play 8 guys. He wants to trust 8 guys. And I think at this point, I think Colorado has at least 8 guys that you feel comfortable about. Starting, playing in the game. The starting
you have
5
freshman depth, too.
For sure. The starting 5 who we talked about, Seaton, Xavier Hill, Zarin McGill, Zy Crisler, Larry Johnson III. That's 5 right there. We're talking about Andre Roye Jr., who started games in the Big Ten. That would be 6. Aki Ogunbiyi, who started games in the SEC. That'd be 7. Kareem Harden, who has started games at Colorado, I think that'd be 8. Phillip Houston, right? Started 9 games for Colorado last year. That'd be 9. And that's not even including either of the 2 true freshmen. That's not including Mane Taimani. That's not including Tyler Brown. So I think that goal of 8 guys to rotate up front, I think Colorado has kind of met that goal. And I'd honestly be a bit surprised if they continue to add up front. I think this might be the unit at this point, the room.
Think so. I think we're on to the 2026 class when it comes to the trenches.
For sure.
Mission accomplished.
We'll
see how it comes together. But
True. And I mentioned this yesterday. The 3 transfer offensive linemen who were added this spring, Xavier Hill, Larry Johnson III, Andre Roye Jr., have combined to play in 64 career games. Combined to start 35 career games. So that is a really experienced trio. Again, coming from the AAC, coming from the SEC, coming from the Big Ten, guys who have played football, who at the very least can provide quality depth in an Xavier Hill's case for sure, potentially Larry Johnson's case, be starters for Colorado here this fall.
So this is an article from InsideTheBlackandGold.net. They cover Maryland football.
Oh, yeah.
Ahead of the 2024 season, or I guess during fall camp, really, so right before last year, Coach Loxley, Mike Loxley, talked a lot about Andre Roye. He said he would be one of my stars of camp thus far. Dre has kept his mouth shut. He's managed the emotional part of the game that, from a maturity standpoint, I see him taking that next step, man. And I've talked to him about that piece. He plays it the way you want to play it with that effort, and he plays with a little edge to where he's playing right to that echo of the whistle and how you want to see a young pup kind of grow up. So I like the way that Andre's coming along. He's playing and practicing with the purpose, and now it's the consistency. Will the consistency be there? And that's the part with a young team and young players. That's
a good, young player, too. Still have 2 years of eligibility left. This is not a finished product by any means.
Yep.
He will continue to grow, and I'm glad that they continue to add guys with multiple years of eligibility because, as we talked about, I think last week at some point, there's a lot of seniors and grad transfers in that offensive line unit right now. I count at least 7 senior/grad transfers offensive linemen on this Colorado roster, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 non-seniors. So as many non-seniors as there are seniors on the offensive line unit right now. So Andre Roye having multiple years of eligibility is a really good sign.
Huge. And then with what we talked about, I mean, we talked to 2 of them last week. Colorado offensive line targets in the 2026 class. So it's coming together, honestly. I mean, I don't really know if you can really criticize the process at this point. I mean, we'll see what happens on the field and the results of it all, but
got to give a shout out to Gunnar White.
Of course.
Gunnar White been going crazy this offseason.
Gunnar, Corey, Box.
Yes,
I mean, all
Corey,
of them.
Box, Andre Gerard, we included in that as well. George Hageman, we included in that as well. But the work that they've done on the offensive line in terms of recruiting, again, adding guys in the winter portal, adding guys in the spring portal, continuing to recruit high-level guys on the offensive line as well. Landing Chauncey Gooden and Carday Smith, Coach Gunnar White, Coach Hageman, Coach Andre Gerard, they've done a great job.
They have. We've got a bit more news to get into, and we'll do that on the other side of this break. Shout out to our homies over at First Bank. Timeouts are for sports, not banking. That's why First Bank offers you the tools and services to take control of your money wherever you are. With their secure, easy-to-use mobile banking app, you can check your balance, pay friends, and stay on top of your money anytime, anywhere. It's banking that moves with you. And here's something extra. Open a new First Bank checking account. You could earn $300. $300.
That's a lot, bro.
It ain't bad. It's a simple way to kickstart better banking. Enjoy a little reward for making a smart money move. If you're ready to take your banking to the next level, check out efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus to learn more and get started. Better banking is just a few taps away with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC.
And shout out to the squad over at UC Health, man. The DNVR Buffs show is brought to you by UC Health, the official healthcare partner of the Colorado Buffaloes. Learn more about living like there is a tomorrow. Go to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health, live extraordinary. Shout out to UC Health. And make sure you go check out thednvr.com for all of our latest written content. Make sure you become a diehard if you aren't already. We're currently running a sale.
Yeah, merch sale
on all of the DNVR drip, all of our merch, shirts, whether you're looking for a specific team or just our DNVR kind of branded merch. There it is right there on your screen. It's our spring cleaning clearance sale, up to 75% off. Go check it out there on store.allcitynetwork.com. Go get you some DNVR drip.
The Buffs had another player on an OV. He posted today. That's Alcorn State cornerback Andrew Smith, listed at 5'11", 185. Has played 3 years of college football, 33 career games at Alcorn State. So that means, in 2022, he was on the field when Travis Hunter really had his true breakout game at JSU. Got a pick 6, had a crazy touchdown on offense. But Andrew Smith, very experienced in his career. He's got 89 total tackles, 6.5 TFLs, 3 picks, 17 passes defensed, and a forced fumble. We're in the depth part of the offseason, you know. That's where we're at. We're rounding out the roster. Colorado is going to need at least one more cornerback.
Yep.
To kind of get to 5 or 6 deep at this point. Again, like wide receiver, can't really have too many of those guys. So we'll see what happens with Andrew Smith now.
For sure. I mean, it would be a nice add, a nice quality piece, quality depth piece. Coach Prime has mentioned, even after Noah King's commitment, that he still wanted to add at least one more cornerback. Andrew Smith would certainly fit that bill. There's another transfer cornerback on Colorado's radar. That would be Tyreekis Davis, a Wyoming transfer cornerback who just posted today that he received an offer from Colorado, and he did it using a picture of Preston Hodge, which tells me that Tyreekis, he knows ball.
All right.
And obviously he's been pretty productive over the last 2 seasons at Wyoming as well.
Yeah, he has.
What's that? 69 total tackles over the last 2 seasons, 15 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 2 picks. I think one of them he returned for a pick 6. 5'10", about 190 pounds, from Texas originally. Was listed as a senior this past year, so I believe he is a grad transfer. Tyreekis Davis. Keep an eye on him. Again, just picked up an offer from Colorado today. Would be another experienced addition to that secondary and a cornerback spot that I think could still add another body or two. Coach Prime certainly thinks so.
So he's a JUCO recruit. He went to Wyoming in 2023 from Navarro Community College, so he's going to have some years on hand to use at this point with that Diego Pavio ruling, but Texas kid as well.
Yes, sir.
So we'll see.
Yeah, Stevie. Davis does got some good film, that's for sure. Broken play.
We're on commitment watch for tomorrow. Gavin Mueller is scheduled to commit. And Steve Wilfong, was it?
Who you talking about, John? Who used to be teammates on the same JUCO team? I'm curious. But go ahead. Oh, him and Preston. I see. Okay.
Nice. I like that.
That's good to know. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Who had the prediction for Gavin Mueller? Was it Wilfong?
I think so. I think it was, yeah.
He has.
It was Wilfong.
Gavin Mueller has been predicted to commit to the Buffs. We'll find out tomorrow for sure at 2:20 Mountain Time. 3:20 Central is when he is committing.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Big fella. Could be the first high school commit for Colorado's 2026 class. Would be a really good start to this class.
Yes, sir. All right, let's go on to the wide receiver room now.
Oh.
After the news over the weekend and talking about it yesterday, I mean, we figured let's just dig into this room at this point because
a lot of talent in that room.
It's extremely, top to bottom.
A lot of tough decisions to make in that room for our guy, Jason Phillips.
It's going to be deep. We'll see how deep the rotation gets. You can start Statesman's comment. We can talk about that at the end. We're going to draft him now, though.
Mm-hmm.
And just to prove a point, I think, with the abundance of riches that Colorado has, you could create 2 5-wide lineups, I think, and feel very good about the players on the field.
100%.
I went first last week. We can have you go first today.
Bet.
I think I know who you're picking.
I don't think you do.
Really? In my mind, there's a clear number 1.
And I think that's interesting because I don't really know who you're talking about. And I feel like the fact that you could be thinking about 2 or maybe even 3 potentially clear number 1s is a good sign of the depth and the talent in this room. But if I got the first overall pick, I'm going to go with somebody who I've talked about a ton, wrote about a ton.
Okay.
Somebody that Coach Prime said that he wants to recruit more of this type of young men.
Okay.
It's Draylen Miller. I'm going Draylen Miller.
Okay, yeah, that was the easy number 1, bro.
All right, for sure. I feel like there's a couple other names you could have said here.
Nah.
But no, I think you're right. Draylen Miller is a wide receiver 1. I think his consistency last season, doing it right away as a true freshman, right away in week 1 on the first play of the game.
Yep.
Shows how trustworthy he has, how much trust he's earned from the coaching staff He's had a hell of an offseason. I mean, I think me seeing him run routes during Colorado's pro day for Shedeur Sanders, I think just kind of changed
that was the moment,
a
bro.
little bit something in my mind where I was obviously very high on him. But seeing him in that setting look like he belonged amongst 4 NFL wide receivers, I think makes Jalen Miller a pretty easy number 1 overall pick for me. But as a couple people are saying in the chat, can't go wrong with another Miller.
I mean, those were the first 2 off the board, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's Omari and Miller for me next. Those are the clear in terms of just, you want to talk about absolute floor, like their worst season, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it's still going to be pretty good. And their ceilings are obviously off the charts. Like, I think both of them have, top 2 round NFL draft potential at worst. Omarion, though, he's had all the flashes you'd want to see in the world, obviously.
No doubt.
The K-State game, the USC game. It's a bummer how it went down last year because that truly felt like a breakout game, where every other wide receiver is just going down for the Buffs.
For sure.
And it felt like it was finally time for O to just do his thing and literally be wide receiver 1 for a game.
Bro, that play against, I always mix it up now.
What?
Against Baylor on the sideline where
the
Shedeur
touchdown?
escapes and finds them. And
Yeah, bro.
Omarion almost gets taken down. It's like literally 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Gets back on his feet and just outruns the entire defense. That play is just ingrained into my memory.
Yep. For me, it's the USC game from 2023. I still can't get over that performance from him.
That was crazy.
It was in 1 half, too. Almost had 200 yards. So,
Leighton, what you talking about? Well, I don't even know what you mean by that. Elaborate.
shout out to the Millers, though. Those guys are different.
Oh, I know what you mean. Okay. I was saying to look like he belonged amongst 4 NFL receivers. In
Yes,
the NFL
yes,
setting.
yes. Oh, I back you up on that for sure.
Yeah.
It depends which way you want to go here.
This
at
is where
point,
it gets
right?
difficult right here. After the first 2, is from 3 to 6 is where it gets tough.
For sure. I'm just going to take Sincere Brown. I'm going to take the production, as you mentioned, most productive wide receiver. In terms of size, the tallest wide receiver, right, on this team.
6'5", moving like the way he do.
We've seen the last 2 years, they bring in, again, I've talked a lot about this. They bring in Zay. They bring in Will Shepherd. They like those big, tall guys to play on the outside.
Yeah.
And we've seen them just come in immediately and carve out a role for the Buffs. Sincere Brown will be the next one.
It's a good pick. I am going to, this one's pretty easy. Ali's already on it. Joseph Williams is where I'm going here. The AAC 2024 Freshman of the Year. Last year, in his first year playing college football as a true freshman, 30 catches, 588 yards, 5 touchdowns at Tulsa. Comes to Colorado, seemingly hits the ground running. Had a pretty strong spring, at least a handful of flashes, not only throughout spring practices, but during the spring game as well.
Yep.
On that day of the spring game, nobody on Colorado had more catches. Nobody had more receiving yards or receiving touchdowns than Joseph Williams did. Both Caden and Juju have talked about the fact that he has quickly become one of their favorite targets. So Joseph Williams is an easy pick for me here in the second round.
I mean, it was between him or Sincere for me.
Yeah, no
last
doubt.
Pick.
No doubt. I got to go here with the production here.
Okay.
The newest addition to the Colorado receiver room, that'd be Jack Hystera.
Really?
I'm going with Jack Hystera.
You're
here.
crazy, Scott. No way.
I think I'm going with Jack. I mean, this is somebody who has caught 66 passes throughout his career.
Oh,
almost
my God.
900 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Okay.
I love me some Isaiah Harge. Isaiah Harge is going to play a lot. He's going to potentially start. But I think Jack Hystera is kind of where I'm going to go here. Again, the production, the film, what he can do in and out of the slot, just making people miss, right? He's not going to run by you, but he's just shifty enough, crafty enough when just route running to get open and whatnot. So I think Jack Hystera is right here in that kind of 5 to 6 range here for Colorado receivers, which is a good spot to be.
Wow.
I can't believe
I did not expect that.
I'm
I really
shocked that
didn't.
you're this shocked. I'm not
I
gonna
really
lie.
didn't expect you to take him. I'm taking Isaiah Harge and Cam Michael then.
Yeah, it's a good duo.
Give me Isaiah Harge. I mean, Coach Prime has been glowing about this kid.
He sure has.
It's another guy kind of like Owen Draylon, where we've seen the flashes. It's just, what can you do over a full 12-game season? And I'm really excited about what Harge can do. He had a touchdown in the Oklahoma State game, right?
No, he didn't. It was a long completion, though. It wasn't a touchdown.
Or then it was the Utah game. There was one game he had a touchdown.
I don't think Isaiah Harge scored a touchdown.
I thought he did. Either way,
Colorado career.
His flashes last year. The athleticism is obviously something that's going to play a role, and the guy was a two-way player. He was a gray jersey.
It's true.
Now he's finally got a home at that slot receiver. Give me Isaiah Harge, and then Cam Michael after that, probably the fastest player on the roster. I mean, geez, in the 4th round in this type of draft, like I don't know, that's a steal of the draft in my opinion. Like you talk about potential, like he has the potential to join Omar and Draylon in that top tier. He's got all the potential in the world, and we'll see exactly where he fits in and where he plays. All he says, Harge is 0 touchdowns. Either way, he was making big plays last year. But Cam Michael is, in my opinion, the ultimate wild card on this wide receiving core. I cannot wait to see him play. It's a shame that he had last year kind of taken from him.
I will just say this. I have been on the Isaiah Harge train. I've written about him this spring.
You have.
I like him a lot. The only thing I would say just in terms of production, and I think we're a bit clouded because I kind of feel you. That catch against Oklahoma State was like such a flash where it stands out. Mm-hmm. That was his only career catch. Isaiah Harge has 1 career catch.
That's crazy.
Cam Michael has obviously 0 career catches, right? And we're talking about Jack Histera, who 66 career catches, almost 1,000 career yards. I understand from a talent perspective, you love Isaiah Harge and Cam Michael, and so do I. So I don't blame you for that. But in terms of my rationale for my pick there with Jack Histera, it's the production. Laura's saying that she can't believe I haven't selected Amarian yet. That's because my boy Jake already took him. I would have took him, Laura. Believe me, I would have took him if Jake left him on the board for me. But
I wouldn't do that.
I'm going to continue here. My 4th round pick, I'm going to go with another transfer. That's Hakeem Williams from Florida State.
Yep.
Similar to some of the other guys we talked about, with like Draylon and Joseph, where the production hasn't been there just because they're still really young.
Yeah.
Hakeem Williams has only played 2 seasons of college football. One, he was a true freshman, made an impact on an undefeated Florida State team last year. Had similar production, but it was largely because of that passing offense led by DGU and Florida State.
One of the worst in the country last year.
Absolutely god awful.
I mean, literally, go look at the numbers. It's they completed like 50% of their passes as a team.
Yeah, when they have like 2,000 passing yards as a team.
Terrible.
I mean, there's no receiver who would have thrived in that situation. But now Hakeem Williams catching passes from Caden Salter, Julian Lewis in this offense. Still has, 267 career yards over the last 2 seasons, 2 touchdowns. Has a 70-yard, I think, or a 44-yard touchdown to slant he took to the crib. Hakeem Williams can play. A former 5-star. I haven't even mentioned that. This is a former 5-star we're talking about here. So Hakeem Williams would be my 4th round pick. Yes, Cornholy, DJU was worse than dog water. Normally people would just say like, oh, he's dog water. But yeah, worse than dog water actually fits there.
He was evaporated dog water.
Let me make sure I get my last pick here correctly. I'm going to go with...
You better not take my guy here, bro.
I am going to take your guy just to piss you off, and because ESPN gave him a nice little shout out yesterday. I'm going to go with Quanell X Farrakhan Jr. here,
wow.
who ESPN wrote about this week, said that Farrakhan might see the field before any other freshman as either a returner or rotating outside receiver. And yeah, that sounds about right. Quanell Farrakhan Jr. looks the part already as a true freshman, was making plays. Obviously, this spring is an early enrollee, was super productive down in Texas as a prep star. Quanell X Farrakhan, again, looks the part, can be used outside, inside, in the return game. I think Quanell X Farrakhan perfectly caps off the best receiver team here on your screen.
I mean, you took my pick, so I'll give you credit for that. You took 2 of my picks, actually.
Go ahead and get Q, man. You got a nice little.
I mean,
finish
yeah,
there.
it's the obvious pick, and it's still a great pick.
You said I took 2. Who was your other one I took?
I was gonna try and take Hakeem, but you made the right pick after I went Harge Cam. It's Quentin Gibson, obviously, to round out this list. I mean, dude had an otherworldly season on the way to a state title last year at the highest level of Texas football. Give me Quentin Gibson. B. Like Quanell, I think he's going to see the field early, probably as a returner. You know, we'll see exactly where he fits into the wide receiver rotation, if he's, the guy next up behind Harge, whatever that is. But his speed, the RK and I we talked about it on the post spring game show. He had that one over route.
Oh yeah,
where it was just like, this guy just moves quicker than every single person on the field. Those deep crossers and just those 9 routes are going to be a quarterback's dream when you have Quentin Gibson running them. He's another kind of wild card. I don't know exactly what to expect from him this year.
Yeah.
But watch out when the ball is in that guy's hand.
No
this is
doubt
just
about
crazy, though. Again, we started off the whole exercise with this.
Yeah.
This is all on the same team. Like,
10
either
deep.
side could probably start for 70 college football
Nobody
programs.
would bat an eye if any one of these 10 guys were starting or just on the field.
For sure.
For Colorado here this year. 10 dudes, 10 deep. And as I'm Evans Demon says on the screen, Terrell Timmons, not even mentioned.
Of course.
Obviously, right? And that's somebody who is, played football for NC State and Colorado, who's been on the field and been somewhat impactful. So this is it's a crazy room, man.
How about wide receiver dark horse? I mean, we're literally scraping into the walk-ons here. I've liked what I've seen from Tag Barden, though. Just in terms of well-off workouts, kind of working with Staub. I think he had a shoulder and elbow injury that kind of kept him out for most of spring, so we didn't get to see too much of him. But I like what I've seen from Tag over the last year plus.
I mean, yeah, in terms of dark horse, it would be somebody that we talked about, one of those 10, I would think.
Of course, yeah.
Somebody I didn't pick. Actually, yeah, it's somebody that I did pick. It's Joseph Williams to me. I think if Joseph Williams gets opportunities, which could potentially be hard to come by based on the depth and the talent in that room, but if Joseph Williams gets opportunities, he is going to make plays. And again, I've talked about the fact he was on this type of trajectory at the end of his freshman year.
Yeah.
His month of November was absolutely ridiculous. 3 straight 100-plus yard receiving games to end his season pretty much. Conference player of the year. Comes to Colorado, he's going to be catching passes from the best quarterbacks he's probably ever caught passes from, being protected by the best offensive line he's probably ever been behind. So I think Joseph Williams is a dark horse and still a young guy, still 3 years of eligibility left, which is crazy to think about.
It really is. Wide receiver core is stacked, man. We got to take a break.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Caleb is healthy. He should be a factor this fall camp as well. Shout out to our friends over at Empire Today. Home floor advantage, the biggest advantage you could have in sports. Bring that to your home or business as well with our friends over at Empire Today. Best in the business when it comes to installing floors and finding exactly what type of material, color, all that stuff, all the options that they have. They'll help you get exactly what you need over at Empire Today. Don't go to those big box hardware stores and all that. You don't want someone messing around in plumbing and all the other departments there and then try to get you a new floor. Just go to Empire Today. They're the best at what they do, and you can schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DNVR. Yes, you heard that right. It's a $350 discount with code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DNVR for full details.
And shout out to the squad over at Volo Sports, man, helping all of us stay young and stay engaged with our athletic side. Because as you see on the screen right there, adulting kind of sucks sometimes. So Volo is Denver's most popular provider.
That's fire. Shout out Volo.
For real. What a quote. Put it on a shirt. Volo is Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports leagues, pickup games, and events. Their sports include soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and many others. Playing with Volo is a great way to, 1, meet new people, make friends, and be social. 2, stay or get more active in a fun way. But most importantly, just mix up your after work routine. You can play in Lodo, you can play in Rhino, Highland, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. Players can sign up as a free agent, small group, or a full team, and all ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use code DNVR10 for $10 off any Volo Denver league. Shout out to Volo because adulting sucks.
Put up that comment from Vino right there. Because I feel like a lot of people have lost sight of this. Looking at the roster from this year to last year. Obviously, things are different without Travis and Shador, right? I'm telling you, this team is better than last year. And so all this freak out about all these other positions and stuff, like, let's have some perspective. Literally, go to cubuffs.com and look at this roster. Because it is crazy. Sure. It's so much better than last year.
I even think about, like, the receivers. Like, after the top 4, right?
Yeah.
Travis, Jimmy, LeJontay, Will Shepard, who we all knew. That's 4.
Yeah.
We knew Omarion Miller was what he was at 5. After that, we were excited about Draylon Miller, but we didn't know we were going to get out of him as a true freshman. The rest of those guys, you know, and that's just one room where it's like, we just put 10 receivers on the screen who could very much be impactful for Colorado this year. And that wasn't the case for that room last year, which we all knew and thought was already talented and deep. And you do that now for the offensive line situation that we talked about earlier in the show, where you have a legitimate 8, 9, maybe even 10 guys who you feel comfortable playing.
We started off the spring wondering if the edge room was the best room on the team.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And they haven't even had to add.
I know.
They haven't had to add via the transfer portal on the edge room, even in the D line, at least this spring, if I'm not mistaken. For sure, obviously in the winter, but this spring, I don't think they've had to add the defensive line because they know what they got in that room, and it's a solid room, strong room. So it's a good point.
Look, if linebacker and running back is something that's keeping you up at night, please just go look at the roster. Like, I'm starting to get annoyed.
You know, those two
thing.
positions are keeping people up at night, though.
I'm starting to get annoyed with the whole thing, though. Let's just relax, please. Have some perspective. All right, a couple things to talk about here. So ESPN, they ranked every Power 4 team's offseason. They kind of broke it down by conference, and this was a pretty big piece that ESPN did. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. People are funny, man.
Adam Rittenberg, Max Olson, Eli Letterman, and Bill Connolly, also all 4 of them contributed on this article.
So this is just the off season. Okay.
Yeah. 3 keys. One is the retention of key non-draft eligible players. 2 is the retention of key coaches or staff upgrades. And 3 is player additions, primarily through the transfer portal, but also high school recruiting. I mean, we should know that more than anyone. You're going to get more impact out of the transfer portal than you will out of the high school ranks. So, I don't know. I went into this expecting. Are you scrolling through it right now?
Yes.
It's crazy.
What are we doing?
I don't know. I went to the Big 12 section, and it was Texas Tech number 1. All right, whatever. I get it. They threw a bunch of money at kids out of the portal. Number 2, ASU. All right, whatever. I get it. They won the conference last year. Returning quarterback, fine. 3, Baylor Bears. I mean, look, I'm a Baylor believer. I think Baylor's going to be really good. I like what I've seen from Sawyer Robertson. 3 in the Big 12, though, maybe a bit much for me. 4, Iowa State. All right. They were there last year. They were in the Big 12 title game. They bring in 2 good receivers to replace their 2 draft eligible guys who went pretty high, and they get their quarterback back. Whatever. I get it. 5, K-State. I get it, man. Whatever. Quarterback coach. Yeah, no. TCU. What's going on here with TCU? How is TCU having a better offseason?
You tell me what they saying, what they add.
I don't know. I mean, they kept their coordinators, so
Did they actually mention that as a reason? That
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it breaks down the coaching moves, the portal, and then like I forget what the third attribute is.
their key additions are 2 receivers and a defensive tackle, according to Espen. Those
Yep.
are their key additions.
Yep. And then after that, it comes to Utah, which I thought Utah had a great offseason, whatever, I get it. But now we're halfway through the Big 12, and
Yeah,
we haven't
dude.
mentioned Colorado. Number 8, now this is where it gets ridiculous. The Cincinnati Bearcats have 100% not have a better offseason than the Colorado Buffaloes.
Bro, it has to just be because of Joe Cotton. Wasn't he one of the biggest?
Yeah, the South Dakota guy, right?
I mean, but even that, it's like, I mean, I think
Is he better than Jordan?
no, but he's not an addition.
No, that still should matter though. I mean,
I
they said right here, number 1.
Retention, right?
Yeah, I mean, this article is massive. I'm scrolling all the way top. Number 1 is retention of key non-draft
Draft
eligible
eligible, yeah.
players.
Yeah, I don't get that, bro.
Now I got to scroll all the way back down to the bottom.
BYU at 9.
So BYU's at 9 now. Again, great program, great coach. Like, get your quarterback back. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't. There's no way they added 35 transfers and have a player as good as Jordan. And then we get to Colorado at 10. They think Colorado the 10th best offseason in the Big 12.
Okay, I'm reading Connolly's take here on this.
Also, the what went wrong makes no sense at all here. What is going on?
I didn't even read that part, bro. I was at the last one. He goes between Salter and Lewis. Maybe no one in the conference has higher upside at quarterback than Colorado. Oh,
Obviously.
sounds good.
Yeah.
He goes, but the Buffaloes lost about 17 starters, including 9 from a good offense, and Sanders chose not to load up quite as much in the portal.
That's what I'm saying. And then this is crazy. So biggest coaching move, obviously, was retaining Robert from
Sure.
I guess macro perspective is retaining Robert Livingston, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could throw in Marshall Faulk when they mentioned both of them as well. What went wrong though here? This doesn't even make sense. Literally. Critics expected Coach Prime to move on after U2, but he's fully committed to leading the Buffaloes into the future and earned a 5-year, $54 million extension after a breakthrough 2024 season. Struggling to see how that's going wrong. This was also going to be a challenging offseason with 2 superstars and a bunch of seniors going pro. Okay, facts. Buffs did lose 8 players who earned starts last season to the portal, and Sanders had to make new hires to replace 4 assistant coaches. But the program is rolling right along with 2 exciting options at quarterback and another big portal class.
I'm still trying to find what went wrong.
Exactly. What are we doing?
And I don't understand. My biggest confusion is how is this so much different than another ESPN story that just came out yesterday that we talked about on this show,
Yeah.
where they ranked, ESPN did, Colorado number 12 in the country in terms of newcomers. And
makes
those
no
newcomers
sense.
included transfers and recruits combined. Number 12 in the country, number 2 in the Big 12 on that list, ranking newcomers. And on this list for ranking off seasons, they're 10th in the Big 12?
It makes no sense. Like, look, I get a lot of the hate and a lot of the misconceived notions people had about this team last year were due to Shador, mostly, right? I mean, he's just a lightning rod. Everyone loves to have an opinion on him. They're just, at this point, they're just completely ignoring what's going on in Boulder, Colorado.
I said it yesterday, bro. We are back where we were.
We are right back where we started. 100%. 100%.
That is especially it's confusing when they clearly like the quarterback situation.
I know.
The offensive line situation is better than it was in 2024. That is indisputable.
Yeah.
Before even a game is played, that's indisputable.
Yep.
The defense just led the conference in sacks. I don't really understand.
You're right, Essence. It might be clickbait, but when you bring in 4 writers and you do a whole, like, I'm telling you, this article is massive.
Yeah,
they
for
put a
sure.
lot of work into this. But they went to Colorado, the Colorado section, they just said, send it in.
Only one spot ahead of Houston. That's how I know this list is cap. That's how I know this list is cap. Only one spot ahead of Houston? Yeah, somebody lying.
So just have your radar up.
Who they got last?
I don't know. I don't care.
UCF.
Of course, they've had they have a long road to go. West Virginia down there too.
West Virginia is 13.
Another list doesn't really have much to do with CU, obviously. Once we get into it, ranking the 10 bleakest quarterback situations among Power 4 conferences entering the 2025 college football season.
I'm curious to hear this. You've been teasing that for the last.
This is from CBS Sports. Dishonorable mentions. So people who did not make the cut. Tennessee is in there. You know, they've got obviously the Iamaleava situation. The other team mentioned, though, Houston.
For what now?
Bleakest quarterback situations.
Interesting. Interesting. Bleak? Houston?
Bleak.
Bleak?
Bleak. That's what they said.
Interesting.
Number 10 is number 10 is Virginia. Number 9 is Kentucky. 8 is Stanford. Not on the schedule, but number 7, UCF. They're the worst. What's that article? Offseason, reviewing the
Ranking
offseason.
the offseason, yep.
And they have the 7th worst quarterback situation in the country.
And their number one key addition, according to ESPN, was
Is it quarterback?
Quarterback David Jackson.
Yeah, they're going to have a tough year.
Oh, another key addition for UCF, Carter Miller. Remember that name?
Oh, shit, I forgot about him. Yeah.
Committed to the Buffs out of the transfer portal from Louisiana Tech this offseason and then flipped like 2 weeks after to UCF.
Purdue is next. Cal is after that. Number 4 is Maryland. Number 3 is Wake Forest. Number 2 is Minnesota. Who do you think has the bleakest quarterback situation in the nation?
In the nation?
In the nation.
I see it right
I
there.
mean, you just looked at it.
Yeah. Good.
It's Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So there are 3 teams now in this list. I mean, one's a dishonorable mention, sure. But 3 Big 12 teams. And Colorado just gets ranked in this On3 article, the top quarterback battles to watch this summer. And I think we both know, or we all know watching and listening to this show, you know, Caden's probably the most likely going to be the guy. Sure. Even if he's not the guy,
all right,
you have a legitimate player in Julian Lewis.
One of the most heralded quarterbacks in the ESPN recruiting era.
Yeah.
According to ESPN. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
It is crazy. And it shows the reason why I wanted to bring this up is the quarterback one is it kind of puts it all in the context, you know, where Colorado is nationally with this quarterback situation. So when people bring up the Shedeur thing, like, oh, they lost Shedeur, they're just going to be worse. I don't know.
Bro, I've said it on this show multiple times. Arguably one of the most impactful, important things Coach Prime has done this offseason was ensure that you don't got to worry about the quarterback situation. Mm-hmm. You might have to worry about which one is going to be in the game, but you don't got to worry about there being a really talented quarterback under center for Colorado Buffaloes following the era of Shedeur Sanders. Yep. And that is just not a spot that a ton of programs are in where they don't got to worry about a quarterback situation, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of these programs in the Big 12 in particular have dreadful quarterback situations. Yeah. Dreadful. Colorado is not one of those teams. They have 2 elite options at the sport's most important position. Mm-hmm. And that's a good place to be in, and that's largely due to Coach Prime. I
mean, and I'd take the duo of Salter and Lewis over a bunch of teams in this conference who have what you would call, I guess, good or decent quarterback situations. Like, Retzlaff did a good job for BYU last year. I don't think he's more talented than Salter and Lewis.
Nope.
Josh Hoover put up numbers last year at TCU. I'm not taking him. See what
he does without Savion Williams and Jack Besh.
Yep.
Let's see.
I mean, Sawyer Robertson, I think, is up there. I think there's a conversation to be had with Colorado.
We'll see. Buzz.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this year. But really, like after him, after Kansas State, after Utah with our guy Dan Pierre, you're gonna have to. You better come with some facts and a real argument if you're gonna tell me that any of those teams after those 3 are better than Colorado at quarterback.
I agree, bro. I completely agree.
All right. You got anything else?
The those other college football quarterback battles to watch from on 3.
Mm-hmm.
Bama's in the 3. Okay, so that's what we kind of talked about that yesterday. Ty Simpson and Austin Mack versus Keelan Russell. Syracuse, the East Coast, Colorado. Got a quarterback battle. Tennessee, I've never heard of.
Yep, Tennessee, Oregon. They have Oklahoma State on this list too. So
that's interesting.
Which is interesting. I don't know if it's a top quarterback battle to watch just to see who wins it and what happens. I don't know if it means top quarterbacks.
I saw this tweet today from Brett Rollins over at Rivals. Again, shout out to our guy Matt H at ScoBuffs 2022.
Oh man, this is a good tweet.
On
Yes.
Twitter. Brent Rollins tweets today. He goes, "How big is getting a 5-star offensive tackle? Since 2014, 29 draft eligible offensive tackles are rated a 5-star by Rivals. 25 of those 29 were drafted. 14 of those were drafted in the first round. That's half. 7 of them were drafted in round 2. So 21 of the 29 5-stars by Rivals since 2014 were drafted in round 1 or round 2. And obviously we bring that up because, well, this is another, I need to peep this one. This is crazy too about them. Of those 25 drafted, only 2 transferred at some point.
Yep.
And obviously we bring that up because Jordan Seaton is a 5-star offensive tackle by Rivals when he was coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And he is obviously a future first-round pick.
He is.
It's cool stuff. It just speaks to how massive, and Matt mentioned that in his tweet.
Yep.
How massive of a get Jordan Seaton was for the future of this program.
And that last part too. I mean, these guys are
Loyal.
usually like loyal, yeah, but they end up becoming, backbones of the team.
Faces of the program.
In terms of, playing that left tackle position, in terms of being a leader, and just being like a tone setter, a culture tone setter too. Like Jordan Seaton is CU now.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest recruiting wins in the history of University of Colorado.
I'm just excited to see what's the 2026 version of that. Because we got it with
got
Seat.
some options.
We got it with Seed in 2024. We got it with Juju in 2025.
Yep.
I'm excited to see who that's going to be in 26.
No doubt. Do you think the NBA is rigged?
No, but I think the NBA draft lottery is occasionally rigged. And I think that was potentially the case last night. How crazy is that, dog?
1.8. 1.8.
It was actually the same probability that the Bulls had when they won the lottery and were able to draft D Rose.
A Josh Giddey buzzer beater earlier this year is what ended up
really, I didn't see
putting
that.
the Bulls in the situation for the coin toss
with the Mavs, right?
And they lost the coin toss, and now the Mavs get the first pick.
Bro, going from Dirk Nowitzki to Luka Doncic to Cooper Flagg with pretty much
some Green Bay Packers
time.
bullshit.
Yeah, literally, with pretty much no time in between.
Yep,
is nuts. But shout out to the Mavs fans, man. That's gonna be lit. Because Cooper Flagg gonna be like that. I needed him to be a Chicago Bull. He's gonna be cold, and assuming they don't make any trades and they just stay at 1 and take Cooper Flagg,
they should.
That's low-key a crazy lineup. Like Kyrie, Clay, Cooper Flagg, AD, and, livelier Gaffer at center. Ooh-wee. That boy Nico Harrison just saved face in a big way.
He's the luckiest man walking the face of this earth. That's
saved
what he is.
face in a big way.
No, that's crazy. I mean, look, it's one thing to talk about rigging games. I think it's hard to rig a game. I think it's really hard to. I joke about it with the Chiefs and all that. It's really hard to do that in the moment of a game, right?
Yeah,
but a lottery, something that happens almost entirely behind closed doors, man.
It's a TV production, bro.
I look at that shit way, way side-eyed.
Yeah.
That is, that stinks.
Because, why not? There are arguments for both sides of this, but, why not just allow, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with how the NFL does it. If you're the worst team, you get the first pick. Mm-hmm. If you're the second worst team, you get the second pick.
That's my other take with this. The people saying the NFL needs to institute a lottery.
Nah.
I love how the NFL is so by the book with the stuff like that, and how it also enforces what makes the NFL so great, and that's the level of parity.
For sure.
Right?
And I agree. I completely agree because the Mavs were literally just in the NBA Finals.
Yes.
12 months ago.
Yes.
And now they get a generational pick in the number one overall. A number one overall pick. The Spurs lucked up and got Wembanyama. The next year, they're in a position where they can get this year's Rookie of the Year in Stephon Castle.
And aren't they picking second overall now,
and
too?
this year, they're picking second overall. There's clearly, this lottery situation is flawed. And it's I don't know. It's clearly, in my opinion, being manipulated with. Not all the time, but in certain cases, I think it's being manipulated with.
Nah, the people who are saying like the NFL needs to do this, that's like junk food, bro. Like it may sound like a good idea now.
Yeah.
That is not a good long-term idea for the future of the league and in terms of competitive balance at all.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. Meanwhile, the Wizards win like 18 games.
Yeah,
and
bro.
Like, it's
The Hornets can just never their ass every year.
Utah has never moved up in a draft
That's crazy,
lottery.
bro. I know. That's insane.
That's insane.
And it makes you think too, right? These teams that we're talking about that don't get lucky are cities like Charlotte.
Yes.
And Salt Lake City.
Yes.
And teams who do get lucky are teams like Dallas and San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy to think about.
All right, let's get to the chat.
Chatski.
Okay, Statesman says y'all seen Brett got crystal ball to Georgia. Let's pump the brakes on this for multiple reasons. First off, one, he's still got an OV cycle he's going through,
Like 4 or 5 visits coming
and
up
he
over
hasn't
the
even
next
OV'd to Georgia yet.
Yeah.
So let's just relax.
And that crystal ball didn't come from a Steve Wiltfong
Exactly.
or even a Pete Nakos. It came from a Georgia insider. It'd
And-
be like me, crystal. Yeah, I think Brett coming here.
Right,
no, we
right.
don't know that, especially 5 to 6 months before he wants to make his decision.
Also, and I'm not going to throw like, I don't want to call the guy out, but the guy has 4 crystal ball predictions in his career.
Oh, this insider?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's put 4 in his career. To his credit, he's been right on 3 out of the 4. But
Sheesh.
come on now, like let's relax a bit. Thank you for bringing that up, though, Statesman.
And yeah, I mean, Brett told us last week that
exactly. That's
he's
the other
going
point.
to take his recruitment into the fall.
Yes.
Into the fall. Because he wants to see how teams like a Georgia does earlier in the season, without a Carson Beck or, a quarterback, at least we all know, under center. So, crystal balling in May when, like you said, he has to take an entire visit cycle. And he's already said that he wants to take his decision into the season to see how teams do. I wouldn't put much, if any, stock into a crystal ball.
Crystal ball or any, RPM predictions, whatever they are. None of these should be made until a commitment date has been announced.
I agree. Like in a Gavin Mueller situation.
Exactly.
Where he's, committing tomorrow. Like,
Exactly.
That makes sense.
OT? We are headed to overtime. If you are watching on your television, head on over to thednvr.com. We're going to wrap up the show over there. Jackson Cantwell ended up committing to Miami, for those who care. Top tackle in the class.
Wow.
He was rumored to go to
Georgia, right?
Georgia
That was
with
hotly contested.
what's the kid's name? The quarterback just committed last week, the 5-star. Jared Curtis. They were rumored to team up together, but
Yeah,
doesn't look
wasn't
like
he
that's
also
gonna
between
happen.
Georgia and Oregon, Curtis?
Yep. But Cantwell had Miami in another school. He had a top 4 he was picking between.
Interesting.
Leighton asks, what is a realistic expectation for completion percentage from our QB this season?
63, 64%.
Yeah, I was going to say 64. I think that's pretty good. I mean,
that would be top 5 in the Big 12 last year, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I was going to look up some context here. So obviously the Buffs were way, way up there because of Shador Sanders. All right, team offense completion percentage. Colorado, number 1, 73.2. After that, it was Oregon, Washington, Ohio State. Those are the only 4 schools that completed over 70% of their passes last year. The 64% range would net you a top 35 to 30 rating in accuracy in college football. I think that's
64% would have put you at 4th in the Big 12 last year.
100% attainable.
Yep.
100%.
Hey, oh my God, this is hilarious. So I'm just looking at, obviously, completion, like the passing stats in the Big 12 last year. One team in the Big 12 last year threw for 9 passing touchdowns all year.
Oklahoma State.
Houston.
Oh, Lord.
Gee, how you do that, bro? Gee, they played 12 games.
Low key, though, this is why I'm kind of higher on them, because I thought they impressed in the other areas. Like, they were opportunistic in making turnovers. They had a quarterback who was a running threat. Like, defense was solid. Like, I just think they get better from where they were last year.
Gee, how you throw 9 touchdowns in 12 games, bro?
It's because they didn't have someone who could throw a forward pass, obviously.
And they threw the most picks in the conference, too.
Get some more consistency in the passing game, and Houston's not a bad football team, I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
Super chat from our guy, East Coast Kev. What's up, man? He says, can we stop all of this Colorado love? I need that hatred that Prime got last year. I made a whole lot of money. I need you to call ESPN and tell them how terrible Colorado is. You don't need us to do that, Kev. They're already doing that themselves, brother.
Honestly, being back in this this spot where people are doubting Colorado is just good for our pockets.
Well said.
Good for our pockets.
Well said. It is. Alrighty, chat.
Hey, somebody said a couple comments ago, talking about my Jack Hysteria pick, saying that bro not gonna see the field. Watch this. Sleep on Jack Hysteria if you want to.
I mean, again, Jack Hysteria was like one of, 10 guys who were actually doing stuff on that 22 team, you know? And he was a walk-on then. Don't sleep on Jack Hysteria.
Chief.
Alrighty, chat. We'll be back tomorrow. RK will be back later this week as well. You got to put up with the 2 main game for 2 more days, and then you're in the clear. Then a tripod version is reuniting finally.
Facts.
See you guys tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.